Right. By the way, can I do a little acting thing?
Yes, please. Go.
Different ways to smoke.
You might as well do it somewhere.
Guys, tune in to Best Of on YouTube. Travel show. Put my special on YouTube. I'd rather be on YouTube.
Before you say that, I actually do. I told you this before, but I think that the Best Of show is awesome for you.
Thank you, buddy.
I really think it's great, and we're gonna have to work on how you title things a little bit, but we'll do that.
I need
just
help.
so people can do it. But
Andrew Schulz has been on a roll lately with the people that he brings on the podcast, on Flagrant Podcast. And the last two episodes I thought were pretty interesting. They started the week off strong by inviting none other than Twitch's finest, Hassan Piker. And funny enough, he got destroyed with dislikes. I actually tried looking for another episode that had anything remotely similar to that type of like to dislike ratio, and I couldn't. If you know of one, let me know in the comments below, but obviously not even the one with Alex Jones had that crazy ratio. This one is like 50% or 60% like to dislike ratio. However, the one that caught my attention was Bryan Callen's episode. We won't talk about the episode with Hassan Piker just because they went a little bit too easy on him, in my opinion. I don't dislike Hassan, I don't hate the guy, but I do think that they had a lot of opportunities to push back and make fun of him in a lot of ways, and they didn't, which I think is part of the reason why the dislikes are all the way up there. Also, they mostly talked about politics, and they didn't bring up the whole Twitch drama, which is completely insane right now, and I think it would have been pretty good for Andrew Schulz to ask him about that, even though I don't know if they're the same audience, maybe not. I think the drama that is going on right now with Twitch, the big streamers, I think what's going on is pretty interesting. So let's just focus on Bryan Callen's episode, even though it was just an hour and 15 minutes long. And before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It really helps out a lot. And most of you guys that watch my videos are not subscribed to the channel. And we're about to hit that 10,000 mark. So please hit the subscribe button. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks. And I'm sure a lot of people, including myself, were thinking, hey, maybe they'll talk about Schaub or Bobby Lee, but they actually didn't bring it up at all, which I actually respect that. I think that's a good move by Andrew, because everywhere else in another podcast that Bryan did, everybody was just clearly trying to milk the whole situation with the Brendan Schaub hate for views, clearly, because even Legion of Skanks did a follow-up episode responding to Brendan Schaub trashing him, which, come on, Brendan Schaub wasn't even talking about them. When he was talking about how he doesn't talk or respond to lower level comics. Come on.
See the Brendan Schwab, I keep saying his name wrong.
It's Schaub.
Claps back on the Skanks. Well.
Did he clap back? Did he actually clap back?
You guys can make the decision. I'll show you.
Did we clap? We didn't even clap. Did we clap at? Did we clap?
Someone. I'm never gonna punch down.
No.
Yeah, there's some low-level comics who'll fire shots at me. I get it. I'm a comic. It's a nightmare. I'd hate me too. It's not fair. It's not my fault.
Don't
but no, hold on.
yourself.
But I'm not. I'm just saying I would hate me too. I get that stuff because comedy's such a hard fucking round.
Yeah.
And when other like journalists or whatever come at me, all good, dude. Yeah. I'm not gonna play that game. I'm not in the business of gossip and negativity. No. Look at my fucking track record.
I agree.
But when
you're a little bit of a rabble.
What's I think he's talking about Dana White. I think he's talking about Dana White initially, because Dana White, I guess.
Oh yeah, him. They were having a problem. Are we just assuming it's about us because he said low-level comics and that fits us so well?
And Nick Swartzen again. He was on Mark Norman's podcast. He just threw out Brendan Schaub's name out there with zero effort. He didn't make a joke about it or a comment. He just asked, "Is that Brendan Schaub?" And then I guess that's what they do now. I guess all they have to do now is just say, hey, Brendan Schaub, and then views go up.
Yeah, I love girl fight. I watched that documentary about that the female boxer, like one of the greatest female boxers on Untold on Netflix. And it was, like how she was touted as like the best. Tyson thought she was like the greatest female boxer of all time. And her life story behind, I don't want to give it away, is insane. But to watch her throw punches, it's wild how in your mind.
Was it Brendan Schaub?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's amazing.
She was killer, dude. She was really killer.
Wow.
No, it was.
I would know about that. 80% of my channel is probably talking about Brendan Schaub, but hey, they are the high-level comic. I'm just here having fun with you guys. Instead, Andrew gave him full access to his platform. He plugged the special, all his other shows, his new podcast, and the episode, the Bryan Callen episode on Flagrant is actually doing very, very well. I think it's over 500,000 views now, which is great and leads us to the main topic of the video. Could Andrew Schulz save Bryan Callen's career? Here's the reason why I say that. Towards the end of the podcast, Andrew Schulz mentioned to Callen that he was going to help him out and mentioned, hey, we need to work on your thumbnails and titles. And I 100% agree with him. This is going to sound corny, but I actually commented something similar on Bryan Callen's video of his best of videos. Clearly stated that I didn't know anything. I clearly don't even have 10,000 subscribers, but I just told him, hey, maybe work on your titles and thumbnails, make them a little bit more catchy, whatever. Because I do think that Bryan Callen has pretty good content. The content that he does, the best of, and the stand-up clips in between, it's legit. I think it is. Like, he puts a lot of effort in it, and you can tell that he's done a TV show before. So he just needs that social media handler or that person that'll, help him with those new catchy titles and whatever needs to be done to play the algorithm so that it'll show him some love and push him to more people because he needs it. And, even though his best friend, Bryan Schaub, is a beast of a marketer, he doesn't share the love with Bryan anymore, clearly. I mean, Bryan just dropped a special, almost an hour-long special, comedy special. And the whole vibe was like if he just dropped another episode of best of, another 10-minute clip. It's insane. When Bryan Schaub was about to drop his 25-minute video of him doing stand-up, he wouldn't stop talking about it the entire time. Not only promoting it, but talking about working on it, how hard it was, how proud he was. We all saw that whole thing, right? With, those videos from his comic friends and what happened on the podcast. Yeah, I don't want to get into that, but he's not doing that with Bryan Callen. He's not doing that. I mean, the dude has an hour-long special, and they hardly bring it up on the podcast, which I think is wild. Here's an addition to that, to the last point. I actually noticed that Bryan Callen was, clearly copying his thumbnail and title from Chris D'Elia, and the Fighter and the Kid crew was clearly copying Flagrant 2 for their thumbnails and titles. There is already a clear acknowledgement of who is doing the right thing. So if Andrew Schulz actually hooks up Bryan Callen with one of his editors like Shifty or Alex Media, that would completely change Bryan Callen's life. If you guys don't know, Shifty, shout out to him. He's a young dude. He basically started editing videos for Andrew, clips for him way back. Grinded, and now is the main editor for the Flagrant podcast, and also helped them edit the special, which is completely insane. And he's talented. So if somehow he could help Bryan Callen, not, maybe not directly edit for him, but maybe he could just tell one of his editors what to do, like what's working right now on the Instagram and the YouTube algorithms. I think that would really help out Callen a ton. Here's the thing. Like I said, Bryan Callen has good content. He's actually funny and he's a good entertainer. And the proof is in the numbers. The first podcast episode that he dropped by himself should be past 50,000 views by now, which is crazy because he only had 75,000 subscribers, I think, when he dropped it. So that's a lot of views. That's a lot of views. And at this rate, if he keeps growing the way that he is, he will soon be way bigger than the Fighter and the Kid podcast and the Schaub Show combined. He is really doing numbers. His comedy special is actually doing really well. And if you look at his Social Blade stats, the numbers are actually positive. Like, that's pretty wild. That's an old man that is actually increasing his YouTube numbers. That's freaking crazy. That's good. So if he just gets that little extra push, I think that'll really take him over the edge. Obviously, YouTube is freaking amazing. The fact that I'm lucky enough to have you guys here to supporting me is insane. So it could very well happen to Bryan Callen. I mean, it already is. He's successful. I've mentioned this in the past in other videos, but what I think he is doing is essentially laying the foundation for in a near future, replace his Fighter and the Kid income with his own YouTube income, which is completely doable. Like, obviously, clearly doable. But yeah, like I said, it'll be interesting to see what Bryan Callen ends up doing. I do see a future where he blows up on YouTube and then branches out, kind of like how Bert did, and maybe make a movie or whatever. Possibilities are endless when it comes to this whole YouTube thing. And he's good. I really think he's good. But yeah, I think that's all we have for today. If you made it this far, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We will be uploading videos at least 3 times a week, if not more. Possibly more in the near future. And that's all we have for today. Once again, thank you. See ya.